We're here with Dr. Erik Carter, who shared with us of his wisdom in working with people with disabilities. Dr. Carter, we're so glad to welcome you back. It's good to see
Thank
you.
thank you, Jill.
Yeah. I have a question for you, and it's very introductory, but what got you started in this work of focusing on people with disabilities and honing in on a need for belonging in particular?
Yeah. Yeah, our origin stories in our work are always interesting. I think I would say I stumbled into the world of disability in, for me, unexpected ways. I think like a lot of people, at the time I was growing up through my elementary and secondary years. Maybe this is true now as well. I grew up in a world that at least functionally didn't include young people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. I really don't recall being in classes or clubs or cafeterias or other places where I encountered young people with Down syndrome or autism or other kinds of disabilities. And certainly that's a loss, but it wasn't on my radar. I think I just had a view of community that was pretty small and narrow. And then when I was 18 years old, unexpectedly, I guess I was stumbled into some relationships I probably wouldn't have pursued. Three young men and women with intellectual disability, right about my age, who through some circumstances of a summer program got to know me and I got to know them, and we befriended one another. And it was unexpected to me because I think as a young, kind of cocky, arrogant college student, I thought so much of myself and thought so much of who I am is about what I can do and what I could accomplish and all these wonderful things about me. And I was just really blown away that these new friends could have cared less about any of those things. It bothered me, to be honest, a little bit that uh, uh, but it started to flip over my world of where kind of worth lies and what matters. And so, for all the reasons someone might be enamored by a friendship, I was, but I think that also really grabbed me and said, how could I grow up and not have the opportunity to meet other individuals like these three individuals? But the other piece of that friendship that was really important was these were three young people of faith. They loved the Lord. They had a deep, deep trust and uh, tangible faith, and that was so attractive to an 18-year-old like me um, who really needed to hear that gospel message and heard it through, I think, who the world might think are kind of unexpected sort of ambassadors of God's grace. So through those friendships, that was the entry point into faith for me. So that was all unexpected as a person who wasn't pursuing disability, wasn't pursuing faith, and that changed my trajectory. I dropped out of college and started to begin to think, how might this be a call to try to help other young people like myself stumble into those kinds of relationships, because there's just such a deep reciprocity there. And I think now, as I fast forward to now that I'm 30 years older than that young person, I think we still have that kind of landscape now where a lot of people are living parallel lives and need to be stumbled in some ways into encounters that might not be on their radar. So that's a little bit of my background, and start to catch a glimpse then of why I care so much about friendships and relationships and belonging, because that's exactly what I experienced as a young person who desperately needed that. I found it in a place that I didn't think I would, and
Yeah.
yeah.
That's thank you so much for sharing that. I love that, and it's a twist a little bit on the way we tend to think of this, which is let's reach out to those with disabilities to make sure they belong. But in your story, these young people with disabilities brought you in and gave you a place of belonging. That's really beautiful. Yeah.
It's very much a flipping of sort of these hierarchies we have in our own
Yep.
culture and society, and we're reminded, we learned that going back to scriptures, that we were wrong all along. That's not how things work.
Right. That's
Certainly
right.
was my story.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.